Okay.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah. So starting from
Can you
one,
just share it? Can you just share it?
Yes, of
I'm
course I
just
can. I can.
downloading. I'll just.
Yeah, I have downloaded.
Rintu, in the meanwhile, you'll check where the other two are.
Anju will be not joining. She's not well. And Vivek, I have sent the message, but he have not get any reply.
Acha.
Shilpa will
नहीं.
be joining shortly.
Acha, Shilpa is joining. ना? Okay. ठीक है. Okay.
Yeah, I've shared it with you. Can you see it? Is it available?
Give me a minute. I think it's still loading. A little slow on connectivity. Maybe at my end. Now I can see.
Okay. So it starts here. This is how it goes. So shall I go through the slides?
You just tell me which are the ones that you will be taking so that we will have an idea.
No, you decide. I think it's better you start a video because I think it would be nicer, I think, with you start
so
up.
I will start. No? All right.
And you tell me up to, there are about 50 slides where, so all this you can cover 14, 15. Edge reward points, grab deal, debit cards. You want me to count from here? So we have, you tell me.
Up to you, Shashwati. I mean, whichever you are comfortable.
No, whatever you think best, family banking. So you tell me what is best, Vidya, because you've been handling it, you'll know best. So I'm just going through the slides, huh? So sorry. So debit card was there. Then we moved to business solution. Actually, Vidya, I had one question regarding this, that current accounts, can they be opened in VCIP or BYOD mode, at least the proprietorship ones? Or
yes,
how does
they
it
can.
work?
They can be open.
So which current accounts can be opened?
If we will have to refer to the deck on BYOD and VSIP.
Oh, okay.
Let me see.
Because in case they ask such a question, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, hi, morning everyone. I've joined. Sorry, I joined on the wrong link.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. It's showing a different name.
Is it? What name is it showing? I'm not able to laptop. Yeah, so I'm joining from my mobile. I'll connect it from there as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Vidya, can we start the session? I think Vivek has not replied the message. Anju will be not joining because he's not well. Can
Yeah,
we
I
start?
know, I know, I know. I will. Just give me a
And I
minute.
will,
I will.
yeah, what I will do, like
Hmm.
the recording links, I will be uploaded in a Google Drive link. So those who
Hmm.
are, they can download that link, download that file, and they can go through it. Right?
ठीक है. Will do.
ठीक.
Will do. Just give me 1 minute. Huh?
You're also checking on that which accounts in current account can be opened in the digital mode, right?
अच्छा हाँ हाँ हाँ. Yeah, just give me a minute. उसका.
Yeah, please. Yeah, sure.
So proprietorship accounts for the current account can be opened in the digital mode.
Okay, only proprietorship accounts.
Proprietorship accounts is
Okay.
what I have a confirmation from. Sole proprietorship accounts can be sourced.
Yeah, it actually makes sense for that only because others would require a lot of documents and all that.
That is what I have currently. Any which ways, when we
Okay.
have the current account session, maybe a little bit of
Right.
clarity will come from that
Yeah, and
side
savings
as
account,
well.
savings
Savings
account also,
account,
I'm
all
sure.
kinds.
But
All
task,
kinds can.
I don't think task accounts would be opened. Again,
Task
the
is
same.
any which ways not giving them points, no?
It's not giving them points, but in
So
case someone
why
wants to,
would, but why
they
would
open a
they
task
why
account.
would they open an
Right,
account also, no,
right.
if it's not getting?
Take. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So
So we'll
Shilpa,
take it after this session. We'll take it about which slides we'll do and all that then.
yeah, makes sense because then you know
Yeah.
we will not be wasting the time.
Right.
Basically,
One question I have, which was asked to me, that how many accounts, number of accounts which can be mapped to the family group.
so under family banking, you can map a total of 6 accounts, 5 plus 1, the primary account holder. So you can
Okay.
have 5 family members' accounts getting added over and above the primary account holder.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, how was it? How was day 1?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, there were a lot of questions which I had, and yeah, people were quite interactive. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Great.
you would have received the feedback as such, so you should tell us how were we. I mean, at least how was I, because it was my first batch with you.
Not a problem. I'm sure things would have handled well only. You found these people coming and sitting through your sessions?
Yeah, sorry, who? I mean, the students.
Abhishek? Did you find Abhishek or anyone? Because I know at least Abhishek would be familiar.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think he was there initially because my presentation was not full screen, so he had told me to make it full screen.
Acha.
So he
Okay.
was there, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So then, Shashwati, if you can just stop sharing, I will project the slides.
Yeah, I've stopped.
All right. So I wanted to take incentives today. I'm just sharing the incentive deck.
Today we have to take credit card, right?
We are on day 2 today, Shilpa. Day 2 में credit card नहीं है. Day 2 is a completely merged session with Priority Banking and Siddhi. You're referring to the session plan, right?
Right. So we are not supposed to say anything much today, right?
No, today you just sit through and listen to what is being said in the session.
Okay. And also, the camera need not be on all the time, right?
No, not for y'all.
Okay, great.
Okay. So is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
The incentive
yes,
deck
yes.
is visible, right? Yeah, so that is what I wanted to talk to you all today. After KRAs, we also need to help them understand their incentives well. This becomes important because today the maximum sales force remains with an organization, remains with a channel, provided they have the opportunity to earn incentives. Incentives becomes the driving force for any salesperson. So if I understand this incentive piece well, there is an opportunity for me to maximize my earnings. The more I am able and in control of my incentives, the more I will stick on with the organization. So incentive is one very, very important parameter for an individual to remain loyal to the organization. So we would want all the RMs who are with us to have an opportunity to earn incentives. And today, if you were to look at the structure in which the incentive program has been designed, Axis has one of the best incentive programs across the industry. And that is what we take a lot of pride in, that, today the organization gives opportunities for the RMs to make their incentives. When we talk about incentives, it is also the best in the industry. So if we understand this well, there is an opportunity for them to maximize their earnings. So how do we understand incentives? Incentives is on similar lines, is in sync with how their KRAs have been designed, which means the maximum focus of them to make their incentives comes from their liability book. So as long as they have a understanding of their KRAs, they will all, and the understanding of their incentive, they will find that a lot of correlation and syncing is there in terms of the KRA and as far as the incentive goes. If they achieve their KRAs, the probability of them making incentives is very, very high. And that's what we would want to reiterate here, where even for incentives, the focus primarily is on the liability piece. 50% of their incentives are made by their performance in the liability piece. 25% comes from their fee income and 25% from customer engagement. Now, the entire incentive is based on score calculation. So today, when we talk 50% on liabilities, 35% of that comes from their savings and current account, and TD contributes to 15%. Now, how do we calculate the whole incentive piece? So that is what the calculation is, what we have tried to explain in the following slides, where your incremental growth, if you remember your KRAs, we are talking about what is the incremental growth seen in your ETB book, your NTB book, what is the new accounts that you're bringing in. So on similar lines, the 50% weightage of your liability score comes from the incremental increase that we see in your MAP portfolios, be it your ETB or your NTB. So 35% weightage on your CASA, 15% on the incremental increase seen in your TD portfolio, contributing to 50% of your liability score. Fee income has a weightage of 25%, comes across IPG, OCS, and RFR, like we saw in the KRAs as well. However, unlike KRAs, for the purpose of incentive calculation, it is fully fungible, which means whatever business you do across these three parameters, you stand to earn incentive. So it is fully fungible, but fee income contributes to 25% of your total incentive structure. We also have something like a MAP book income booster, which is basically nudging the RMs to ensure that they focus on their mapped customer to earn incentives. So they have higher points coming their way if the fee income is being generated from their customers, from their portfolio customers. That advantage is not there if they source from outside their map book. So for accounts or for business that is sourced from outside the map book, they get credit as it is. The extra credit comes when the fee income is sourced from their portfolio. We will explain that further in the slides to come, but that is the logic here. In fee income, it is completely fungible. You get credit or you get incentive. You make incentives for every piece of business that you do, and you get added points for the business that you do from your map customers. Customer engagement, the third parameter, again having a weightage of 25%, and here the things that we will be consider again in sync with your KRA. What is the number of customers that you have grouped under family in this year? What is the product penetration parameter that you have had, number of unique products sold, and the customer deepened? All three of them contributing to 25%. And here again, the score capping would be at 150%. Now, your total incentives would be a culmination or a summation of all these three parameters. Now let's understand how the calculation works. This is the explanation on the fee income booster. So if you do any kind of IPG, OCS or RFR points from your map book, that is the advantage that you get. For example, if your total fee income, if 70% and above is from your own mapped customers, whatever is the score that you have earned, that takes a increment of 30%. So there's a 30% rise on your scores. So that is the booster effect that we are getting. So today for the same amount, like we saw, when we were opening accounts digitally, instead of 9, I can earn as high as 18 points for the same account. Similarly, for the scores that I earn on fee income, I get a 30% up increment on the scores because of the booster effect. Because what the organization appreciates is 70% of your fee income business is coming from your own portfolio customers. If the fee income is in the range of 60 to less than 70%, you get a 20% booster. 50 to less than 60%, you get a 15% booster. And there's no booster for any business that is less than 50%. So what here we are saying is any RM who is getting fee income from outside and not from his map book will not get this advantage. But RMs who focus on their customers and get fee income from within their portfolio customers get an automatic advantage of the booster, which adds to their scores. Any questions?
No,
Shilpa?
thank you from me.
No.
Understood?
Yes.
So here the message that we are trying to tell our RMs is please focus on your map book. It will work for your advantage, right? So business any which ways you can bring in from outside as well, but the advantage of a booster lies only with the business done from your map book.
Vidya?
This is how,
Vidya?
yes.
If we could just go back to that. The one, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, all this that is written over your final subject to minimum 50% of Part B budget achievement, final Part B score. Do we talk about it now or we ignore it for the time being?
There's nothing to ignore as such. The minimum, it is said that less than 50%, you will not get any advantage at all on your scores, right? So you need to have an achievement of 50 and above for the booster elements to come into place.
So what is this Part B? Which is this
Part B scores? Part B scores is this, no? Your liabilities, fee income, and customer engagement. So if liability is contributing to your Part A scores, fee income contributing to your Part B scores.
Okay.
So this is the
C.
scores that we are talking about. Yes, C is customer engagement.
Okay. And then what is this? Part B score is equal to pre-weight Part B score plus booster into 25%.
So today, before the 25% advantage, the percentage add hone se pehle, you will be able to get the booster effect. So 25% advantage, percentage add hone se pehle, you will get your Part B scores. So today, whatever business that I'm doing, that will automatically have the increment of the Part B map book booster. And on top of that, you will have the advantage of the liability calculation of 25% for fee income.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fee income 25%? Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
So this is the next piece, revenue calculation. So how we have calculated for the fee income, including the booster advantage. Similarly, we will calculate revenue for the liability piece also. How do we calculate ETB CASA revenue? That is what they have tried to explain. Today, whatever are your CASA revenues will be multiplied at 3.5%. The incremental business, that is how we will calculate the revenue. Every book will have some kind of balances that have been added. The incremental balance is what that is counted, and this balance needs to be identified as to how much revenue have you generated for that particular account, for that particular book. So now that is being checked by the calculations for revenue. So today, if I have to figure out how much revenue I have brought into my CASA book, the CASA values would be at 3.5% and TD would be calculated as 0.3% for the incremental values that I bring in. However, because these are incentives and incentives are directly earned, reflective of your earnings, any kind of marked outflows in your CASA MDAB are curtailed so that your incentive does not get completely wiped away. The organization wants everyone to have a healthy opportunity to make incentives, and sometimes customers withdraw money and over which we really don't have any control. So if such kind of downside is seen, that downside would be restricted to 10% for incentive calculations. And that is what they can be rest assured. So even if the depletion is much higher than, let's say, 10% or 20% or maybe 50%, the hit that they will take on their incentives for the purpose of incremental ETB revenue calculation would be restricted to 10%. So that is how we would want them to understand that any kind of marked outflows also will not majorly impact or will not take away the incentives that they are likely to make. So any ETB CASA growth, the downside would be restricted to 10% if we find. Similarly, in case of CA MDAB also, if there is an outflow in terms of CA MDAB, again, that would be capped at 10%. So that is the downside capping that we are holding on, so that even if the incentive, the RM is making incentives and the book has degrown, the impact on the total incentives that he makes would be restricted. Let's look at the NTB CASA MDAB. These are the new accounts that have been sourced and what is the impact here in terms of incentives. For self-sourced accounts, you get 100% credit like you see in your KRAs as well. So right from day one, whatever the balances are seen in the customer account, the MDAB, the RM gets the credit for it and it adds to the CASA MDAB, the NTB CASA MDAB for the RM. Whereas for those accounts which have been sourced by another RM and mapped to him, then the incremental MDAB would start for the RM from M1, which is the following month. So you don't get M0 credit, you get credit from the M1, and that too for the incremental values that we see. Now, if the incremental MDAB, like we saw in the KRA example, if it is negative, then there would not be any impact for the RM. So that is the NTB CASA MDAB calculation as far as the MDAB goes. Any questions?
Not from me.
Right. None from me as of now. Maybe later once I go through this. Yeah.
So this is the TD calculation. Again, for TD, again, like we saw in the KRAs, it is the incremental business that we are checking. And here, for the purpose of revenue, we will be calculating it as 0.3% of the incremental business that the RM brings in. And again, here, if there's any depletion in the TD book, the impact would be restricted to 10%. So the RM would still make incentives, but only the negative impact will be restricted to 10% as far as the TD growth is concerned. So at every opportunity, we are also minimizing the impact the RM will feel for any kind of large outflows that we see from his MAP portfolio. So the downside is restricted to 10%, giving the RM an equal opportunity to still make some incentives. That was the TDPs. For fee income, we are on a points budget. So every product that they sell is having a certain number of points. And we mentioned that in the KRA also, the point structure can be seen in the enterprise circular. For IPG, OCS, and RFR, it's a simple direct calculation for the purpose of understanding what revenues that you have made. Whatever is the product that you are selling, whatever the points that product has, that into 1,000 is a direct revenue that you are generating against each of these parameters, right? So today, if I am selling life insurance and life insurance has 100 points, for the purpose of revenue calculation, it would be 100 into 1,000. That is the revenue that I have generated for that product. So very straightforward calculation for the purpose of figuring out what is the revenue that I've brought in. And your second parameter of fee income would be a culmination of IPG, OCS, and RFR revenue that you have brought in. Here?
Vidya, here when we're talking of liability revenue into incremental end-up of base month, that liability revenue is there 0.3% into it'll be right?
To the values that you bring in, yes. So the
So
values that
0.3%
incremental value into 0.3 would be the
3%.
Revenue that you have generated for your liability book.
Right. Take.
And your total revenue would be your total CASA TD revenue plus your fee income revenue. That is the total revenue that you have generated. So incentive is always a part of the revenue being given back to you. A percentage of the revenue that you have generated comes your way as a part of incentives. So this is the payout rate. So depending upon whatever is the score that you achieve over your liability, fee income, and customer engagement, depending upon the scores, the revenue payouts would be generated. So for the new income, because we will be focusing on the new PBRM piece, because all these are new PBRMs. So the second table is what would be applicable. Anyone who scores a total of 150% and above gets a chance to make 14% as a payout of revenue. Yeah.
Vidya, sorry to interrupt. This score is a total of which headings? The score?
The total scores here.
Oh, all three. No, all two.
All three total scores: all liability, fee income, and customer engagement scores.
Okay. We haven't yet touched upon customer engagement scores.
Yeah. So this is the scores. 150% and above, if your scores are, you would be getting 14%. If it is in the range of 110 to less than 150%, it is 11%. 90% to less than 110, you'll get 8% of your revenue. 60 to 75, less than 75, you get 3%. And if your scores are less than 60%, then you do not get any incentive.
So one question I have, it's पोस्ट टैक्स राइट, मतलब अगर मान लो मैंने 2 लाख का कमाया तो मुझे 30% मेरे स्लैब के हिसाब से टैक्स लग जाएगा, उसके बाद मेरे अकाउंट में पैसा आएगा, राइट?
कम अगेन
नहीं टैक्स बाद में, दिस इज जस्ट रेवेन्यू, दिस इज ग्रॉस.
Okay, nahi, so I am earning 14% on my revenue. So for example, after that I get an incentive of 2 lakhs. So on 2 lakh, according to my salary, 30% tax लग के मुझे मिलेगा या direct मिलेगा? That's what I'm asking.
No, the 14 lakh which you're talking about, 2 lakh, which is gross. Okay, so you this is gross, and then your tax will be deducted at a later stage.
Yes, so post tax I'll get, right? है ना? In my account.
Yeah.
Because RMs will certainly ask this, and there are some companies who, you know, then at this stage, because किसी को tax ज़्यादा लगता है, तो they give in form instead of cash. So in Axis, it's all in cash, right? In your account post tax.
Yeah, post tax.
Thanks.
Yes. Any more? All right.
If you can just go one slide up.
Here?
Yeah. Okay, I'll just explain this IPG for a better understanding. What are these points and what is like 1,000? Let's say, for example, a mutual fund of RM has done 1 lakh of open-ended mutual fund. So what is the revenue he gets? He gets 3 points. 3 points into 1,000, which is equals to about 3,000 rupees. That's how it is calculated. Suppose if he's done a life insurance, a ULIP of of 1 lakh rupees, he gets about 7 points. 7 points into 1,000, that is 7,000 is the revenue generated. So why they have done this is they must have a common factor for revenue generation. So for example, if I've done a home loan, a mortgage, if I've done or loan against shares, I've done disbursement on disbursement of 1 lakh equivalent, I get about 5 points. So 5 points into 1,000 is 5,000 rupees is the revenue that I have generated. Similarly, for RFR is at actuals. So they if you earn something like 3,000 revenue on a transaction, you get 2 points, and into 1,000 that's 2,000 rupees. So that's how the revenue generation is calculated. Just for your understanding, because many people ask you about this points part of it. Yeah, as rightly said, they are there. There's an enterprise circular which gets updated every month, because the at the back end Access has got an agenda every month as to what is the product I need to push and generate more income. So basis on that, they give you extra points. For example, if I'm reaching Diwali, or we have, I think, Gudi Padwa in the western part of India very soon. I don't know when. So they want to push, let's say, car. This thing. So they say, so yeah, somewhere on this month, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So like they want to push that product. They want to push car loan because it's a good auspicious day to buy. So they say is every lakh that you disperse, I will give you 6 points in this period of, let's say, is Gudi Padwa 1 week or 10 days, or Akshay Tritiya days and all that thing. So that's how they just increase that point. So the people work on and into getting more of two-wheeler or vehicle loan or things like that. So that's how it works.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
With the
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so we need to tell the RMs that they need to score at least 60 and above to make some incentives. Sometimes what happens is there's a lot of confusion in their minds, thinking that they'll be able to make incentives irrespective of your scores, but that is not the case. They might have done business, they might have done fee income business, they might have done liability business, but if the scores are poor, then whatever business that they have done will not fetch them incentives. And a lot of times RMs do not realize that their incentive is also dependent on the scores that they make. And here, that's why the focus on understanding where are the scores coming in from, how much weightage for liabilities, how much weightage for fee income becomes extremely critical for them to understand and appropriately, earn also, maximize their earnings. Now, this is the kicker penalty that we are talking about, where the first kicker that the RM enjoys, and it can be either a kicker or a penalty depending upon the performance of the RM. So today, if they are able to achieve their NOA, that is the acquisition points month on month, they have an advantage of having a rise on the points that they are making. And that is the NOA kicker that we are talking about. If you do not achieve your acquisition numbers, and this achievement of your NOA points is less than 60%, as said earlier, they will not make any incentives. If the acquisition numbers are in the range of 60 to less than 80%, then their incentives will take a hit. And that is the penalty that they will have to face, where there is a 20% downside on their incentive. Because why the downside? Because they have not met their numbers. The expectation is they meet 100% of their acquisition numbers month on month. If they do not meet these numbers, we will pay you incentives, but not the full amount. The incentives will take a docking, and that is the penalty that they will have to bear on the incentive values that's coming their way. If their achievement is 80 to 100, less than 100%, then there's a 10% penalty that would get applied. But the moment they achieve their acquisition numbers, what happens is their incentives take a kicker, which means whatever is coming their way, that gets an incremental increase or hike by 5%. For example, if their achievement is greater than 100%, but less than 120%, whatever is the incentive amount gets hiked by 5%. This is the organization appreciating that they have managed to meet their budgets and their way of rewarding the good work of the RM. The same applies for an achievement between 120 to less than 150%. Your incentives will take a kicker of 10%, and any performance which is greater than 150%, your incentives will take a hike by 20%. This again needs to be well understood, because sometimes while you have RMs and they're keenly tracking the amount that they are likely to earn, they find this disconnect. Why is my incentive amount not as I had expected? And that is maybe because of this point, which they need to understand, that in case if they don't meet their budgets, then their incentive amounts can undergo either a penalty, or if they meet their budgets, can also undergo the kicker element. So both the options available for the RM depending upon their performance. So that is the NOA point kicker. We also have the multiplier, like we saw in the KRAs. You have the BYOD and the VSIP multiplier 0.25 and 0.5 on the acquisition numbers, and that continues here as well. And they have the funding multiplier also that is available. The factors remain the same, that it needs to be sourced digitally for them to enjoy the point multiplier on the NOA points that they are earning. Every NOA point number can be increased depending upon how they are sourcing it digitally. 1.25 if it is BYOD, 1.5 if it is VSIP, and the funding, if they are able to get twice the funding, then they have a multiplier on the funding as well. 0.5 is the multiplier on the NOA points. But the checks will still continue, which means that the funding has to happen within the timelines of funding, and the balance also needs to be maintained at the end of M1. We would want to make sure that all our RMs are maintaining the true proposition, the eligibility proposition of the priority account for their CASA accounts that they are bringing into the fold. So today, for non-salary accounts, the funding has to happen within the first 10 days, and it has to be with twice the IP value. For NRI accounts, again, funding has to happen either in month 0 or month 1 with twice the funding value. And domestic salary credits, again, have to happen within the first month 0 or month 1 with twice the values. Only then will the funding multiplier be applied, provided funding has happened with twice the values and it has stayed true to the proposition at the end of month 1. So that is what we are talking about here as well. So reiteration of all these that we have discussed in the KRA is reiterated in the incentive document as well. So that's why we say, as long as you follow the KRAs, you will make sure that you are also making incentives simultaneously. So like in the KRA, the family accounts and current accounts are not applicable for the multiplier piece, but otherwise for all the other accounts, they have the advantage of the multiplier as well. Yes. Do I proceed? Any questions?
No, thanks.
No.
Oh. Sorry. This is the liability kicker that we would want to understand. Understand that even for incentives, the focus is on your liability book, and this is how possibly your liability book will behave. We would want to have control over how the balances are handled for our customer accounts, and that is what we are giving as a part of a kicker. Now here you don't have any kind of negative impact, but in case if your book is doing well, you have the advantage of a kicker. So here is the liability kicker. Your CASA book, total ETB and NTB, incremental is what we are checking for calculating revenues. This is the total performance of your liability book, including of your CASA accounts and your TD book. For example, after the portfolio has got mapped to you, possibly maybe there is no incremental growth seen in your book, and that is the first example where both your CASA ETB and NTB book and your TD book have not shown any kind of growth. If that is the case, and if the growth is less than 20%, then there is no kicker. Now, please understand these are kickers, meaning the RM stands to earn more advantage, more incentives depending upon the kicker that is in place. Alternatively, let's say the CASA book did not perform as expected, the performance is less than 20%, but you have managed to grow your TD book, right? And that growth is in the range of 20 to less than 50%, then your liability kicker of 5% would be applied to you. So that is the advantage you are getting because your book has performed not as expected, but there is some marginal improvement, and even that marginal improvement of 20 to 50% is being acknowledged by the organization, and you're getting a kicker of 5% on your incentives. If it's in the range of greater than 50%, then you get a 10% kicker. Now, these are the various scenarios of how your CASA book will behave or your TD book will behave. For example, the next category, your CASA book has shown an increment, has grown by greater than 20%, but is less than 50%. But your TD book has not grown. So again, you get a kicker of 5%. And the various scenarios where 20 to 50% less than 50% in your CASA book and the same 20 to less than 50% in your TD book will give you an advantage of 15% kicker. 20 to less than 50 in your CASA and greater than 50 on your TD will give you an advantage of 15%. So if you were to look at the kickers, the incentive values can take a hike up to 25%. And that is the best scenario where your CASA book has grown by 50%, incremental growth over the base month, and your TD book also has grown by 50%. So your incentive values after upper cap, please understand there is a maximum incentive slab as per each grade. And this liability kicker comes into play after the upper slab adjustment has happened. So this is what we are saying, where RMs have the advantage of earning higher than the incentive slab or the upper cap as well. So today your incentives can take a 25% kicker depending upon how your portfolio is performing under you, be it the CASA or the TD. And we have also split it so that independently what is the movement of your CASA vis-a-vis your TD, you will stand to earn. But no kicker will come into play, and incentives will be whatever are the base incentives applicable if there is a growth which is seen less than 20% on both your CASA and TD book. Right? So here again, reiterating the gating parameter that you need to have a total liability score of 60% and above for you to earn incentives. Anything less than 60%, you will not earn incentives. Questions?
What is the meaning of pre-weight?
Before the multiplication, the 25%, 50% multiplier for that parameter.
Okay.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we need to re-emphasize to the RMs is it is not difficult to make incentives. It is very, very easy, and a lot of RMs are successfully making incentives month on month, and the values that are up for grabs are also substantial. And that again is reinforced by the statement that, we have one of the best incentive structures across the industry. For people who have moved from other organizations, they will realize and appreciate there are a lot of things that the organization wants. And it's not as if, a lot of times RMs are of the feeling that, हम बना नहीं सकते, हम बहुत आसानी से बना सकते हैं. बहुत सारे RMs successfully incentives month on month कमा भी रहे हैं. So all we need to do is understand how it works and work accordingly. These are the upper cap values for understanding purposes. What is the amount that is up for grabs per quarter? Incentives are paid in the subsequent quarter. So what I make in this quarter, the payout comes to me at the end of the following quarter. And these are values that are quarterly values. So today, if I'm a manager, I can make 2.75 lakhs per quarter. And this again is substantial, and all RM should aim to make incentives.
Vidya?
Yeah.
When we're calculating the scores, etc., for incentive calculation, is it the values are taken per month wise or is it taken per quarter wise, since it is incentive
Your performance would be checked for the quarter as a whole.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is how the payout calculation goes. First, we arrive at your scores to figure out whether you're applicable for incentives or not. And that is where the 60% becomes important. Only if you cross the benchmark gating parameter of 60% will you actually fall into the further calculations. Now, if you have scored well, so this is how the calculation works. Depending upon your scores, the percentage of the revenue payout would be understood. So there are slabs depending upon your scores, and we have seen that in the earlier slides. Depending upon your scores, the percentage of the revenues that you have generated is given out as incentives. So we arrive at a base incentive amount. This base incentive amount is checked to see whether you have met your acquisition numbers. If your acquisition numbers have been met, the incentive amount will take a kicker. If the acquisition numbers have not been met, then your incentives will take a penalty and you arrive at a revised incentive value. This incentive value that you have now arrived at is checked whether it is in line with the upper caps that have been fixed for each of the grades, and it is appropriately adjusted. If it is within the upper cap, no adjustments made. If it is higher than the upper cap, then it will be adjusted to meet the upper cap. So you get the incentive amount, which is after capping. After the incentive amount has been adjusted for upper cap, then we look into the liability kicker. And that is where we saw the slide on how your CASA book and TD book is performing. And you get the advantage of the liability kicker, which decides the intermediate payout amount. And intermediate payout amount, like I said, would be paid out only if you have met the liability gating score of 60% and above. So we would want to make sure that everybody who is earning incentives understands these calculations, why incentives are getting compromised, why incentives are taking a hike, and the opportunity to make money much more the upper cap as well, depending upon relevant efforts and performance seen in your map portfolio. And that's how you arrive at the final payout. And this final payout comes to you at the end of the following quarter. Any questions on the calculation piece? Shashwati, Shilpa?
No, thank you.
No, I guess I was just thinking the kicker, I mean, is there any amount on kicker that's on points?
It is a
right?
percentage. It is a percentage on the revenues that you have brought in, on the incentive values, depending upon where it is being applied.
Okay.
Vidya, when they're saying just sorry, Shilpa, did you have any other questions? Sorry to have interrupted.
No, I'm still on thinking mode.
Yeah, same here.
Take a moment, assimilate, gather. Yeah.
Vidya, when it says refer slide 9 for details, एक बार आप slide 9 में जाएंगे? Oh, okay. So intermediate payout and final payout में difference क्या है?
The kicker and the thing will come into play. Now, we will want to make sure that the incentives are either adjusted. There would be an upward adjustment or a downward adjustment, depending upon performance.
Penalty and wo jo kicker aega.
Kicker.
Okay.
So this liability kicker is a pure motivation. If you see, there is no negative hit for the RM. The negative hit is on your acquisition numbers. Your incentive gets compromised if you poorly perform on your acquisition numbers. But here, the liability kicker is a pure booster. Your incentive amount will only take a hike once the liability kicker is applied. But then that again applies if your book has moved greater than 20% on your CASA TD. So any upward movement on your book is, is an opportunity for you to make added incentives. Right?
So is there any, motivating slide which we can show that, an RM, or we can say that an RM has earned as high as this in a month? Any amount which can be quoted?
So the amounts have been quoted here, and they get these, what do we say? They get these MIS dashboards which says how much money they are up for grabs. But actual amounts, how much, I don't think वो उन लोग दिखाते हैं. I'm not too sure, because salary and incentives becomes personal, na. तो वो
Incentive
मुझे, I'm not
calculator
too
जो है ना,
sure.
incentive calculator on the
You
PVRM, which we showed them, bi-weekly it gets updated as what is your income that you're going to make. So a PBRM has to go and check on that incentive calculator and check is what is the income that he, what is the what you call incentive that he is making.
Yeah, true.
using
No,
the
my only
incentive.
question was like, if say in my team I have 5 RMs in my branch, and then when I get to
Okay.
know that इसी team में इतना ज़्यादा कमाई हो रहा है, तो थोड़ा सा वो motivation बढ़ जाता है ना. So people can ask that what is the maximum an RM can earn in a, depending on a level I can understand, but still if we have some quote or some figure rough, if we can even say, can we quote that?
No, I don't think
We
so,
don't have
because
anything on hard copy that which says that can be shared.
Okay. But we can say it is a good amount, right? That's what
The
we can.
amounts any which ways are on the slide. So whatever is the upper cap amounts, that is any which ways applicable. आप सोच लो ना, upper cap के बाद अगर आपको incentive मिल रही है, these are your upper caps. इसके ऊपर आपका liability kicker आपको 25% और opportunity दे रहा है, right? The liability kicker 25% more. So you can just take that as a ballpark figure if you want, that whatever is the upper cap, उस पे 25% और hike मिलेगा, because this kicker is coming after the upper cap. So that much more is available to you. So now depending upon your grade, where you are, what is the amount eligibility, आपकी eligibility के हिसाब से आप इतना upper cap और बना सकते हो. That is documented and given in black and white. Yeah.
Correct. So पिछली वाली slide के साथ ये वाली slide combine करके we
आप
can tell
combine
them
करके
that
बता सकते हो कि these are the upper caps and you have an opportunity. So as an organization also we are not restricting ourselves कि एक बंदे को सिर्फ upper cap ही मिलेगा. उसके ज्यादा अगर वो अच्छा कर रहा है तो we acknowledge that and we are ready to shell out more as well. So as an organization, we are encouraging you all to work towards, but yes, you need to work smart and you need to understand all the parameters of your incentive so that you make those monies.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
And again, the point to be noted is these are quarterly figures. So, some very good amounts up for grabs. So this is, again, we would want to reiterate the incentive calculator, which is available to them, and they can, simulate, they can check for themselves how each product, how their incentive values will change, how is it, what needs to be done. And this will give them a fair idea even before the payouts come into their account that, what is coming my way. And that clarity itself is a motivator for me to work towards it. So at every step for every business that I do, or every business that I'm planning to do, I will have an upfront idea of how my incentives are going to change. And these incentive calculators ka calculation and point structure has all been already taken into account. All you need to do is put in those figures and automatically नीचे आपको बता देता है incentive calculator कि इतना incentive बढ़ेगा. Yeah, this is the change that happens for every product that you sell. So the incentive calculator can be very effectively used by RMs to understand. And these incentive calculator also takes into account the upper cap adjustments and so on and so forth. So easily आपको वो clarity मिल जाती है in terms of incentives that you're making.
Right.
The other is the SAS link, which talks about your MIS tool. So we talked about the KRAs, we talked about how is it that you can check your performance across each of those parameters. So you have incentive calculator, which acts as a simulator, and you have SAS, which is giving you the actual live performance that you are doing vis-a-vis all your KRAs, respective KRAs. So you will have both these links, which are coming very handy to you, not only to understand your performance, but also to understand what is the incentive that you're making on the performance so far. Yeah?
Yeah.
So certain terms and conditions, again, very generic. We would want them to make sure that all their certifications are in place, because if their certifications are not in place as on 31st March, the incentives will be on hold. So you would want to make sure that they get certified as quickly as possible for their SPN EUIN. Again, at any point in time, if there is any mis-selling or any kind of issue that gets raised for the business that they do, again, we will be putting it on hold till the time those things are not checked. So we would want to make sure that there is business, there's opportunity for everyone to make business, but we want RMs to source business in the right way. Right. So that again is imperative for them to understand that while Axis Bank appreciates business, it also wants all RMs to source business in the right manner. The Q4 incentive, that is this quarter ka incentive cycle, and the credits would come along with your June salary, and you need to be on the payroll of the organization to earn incentives. That is the Q4 incentives. We also have certain added clause that I talked about, like in terms of mis-selling, inappropriate selling, any such kind of issues if observed, we will have a no incentive payout clause. And that is what they need to be prepared for.
Vidya,
Mm.
a small request. Can you just give an example that suppose someone has joined, let's say at the end of December. Okay.
Mm.
So just give an example that, you know, uska base month, uska M1, M0 kya hoga, when is incentive going to be calculated? Ek baar thoda bata
So
do na,
today,
please.
if he's joining in the month of December and the portfolio allocation has
16th of
happened in the
December.
month of January, yeah, that's what I'm coming to.
Yeah.
Because
ठीक.
RM has joined in the month of December, portfolio got allocated to him in the month of January. So for all practical purposes, the base month for this RM would be the values in the customer account as on December 31st. Those would be the base month for the portfolio and for the purpose of incentive calculation and KRA understanding. Now, he needs to spend 30 days in the role to start earning incentives. So, which means that an RM who is joining in the month of December has an equal opportunity to make incentives for himself, right? So we can make incentives. I am applicable for the incentive cycle, and depending upon the performance that my book has seen in these 3 months, that is, if the portfolio has got allocated in the month of Jan, his budgets will start from February. तो फरवरी एंड मार्च के बुक के परफॉर्मेंस के हिसाब से उसको इंसेंटिव पे आउट किया जाएगा जून में.
Right. So someone who has joined, say, in February, say middle of after 15th of February, उनको इस क्वार्टर की नहीं मिलेगा.
प्रोवाइडेड उनका उसका पोर्टफोलियो एलोकेशन हुआ है कि नहीं.
Yes. अगर हो भी तो तभी भी हो सकता है ना.
अभी भी हो सकता है ना. Let's say I joined and immediately my portfolio also got allotted. So my budgets will start from March onwards immediately. Right. So and I have plus I have stayed 30 days in the role. So I still am eligible. So what happens is for you, for your performance to be tracked, it is very important that you have a map book, because your KRA and incentives are all linked to your map book. So when you get your map book and how much time you are getting in the system. So most of the people that we are currently training are people who have joined and have spent a minimum of at least 30 days in the system as an RM, more or less. So all these people are eligible to make incentives, and that's why we are taking. Otherwise, what happens? No, if none of these were eligible for the incentive cycle, we would have had the opportunity to do a full day training. But because we are doing a 3-hour training, because all these are also eligible to make incentives.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Shilpa?
Yeah, I'm with you. Correct.
Okay.
On this.
Okay. So that is, I'll just stop sharing this. So I'll have the incentive document forwarded to all of you all. So this is the Q4 incentive that you would have to share in the session. And we also have another one on day 4, which is the digital platforms, which is going to be taken by them, which is a more session which will be taken by them. That is the digital channels and platforms. So I'm just taking you briefly over the digital piece. Like I said, this is going to be a session that they are going to conduct. And the module is also fairly new for us. So a little bit in terms of a brief is basically what Access is trying to do is they are trying to make sure that majority of their products are available through the digital channels. And this is what they are trying to highlight. Focus on the RMs, migrating the customers to the digital platforms of internet banking and mobile banking, and using these platforms to also cross-sell products rather than going through the physical process. So that is what the focus and the agenda is. As a bank, we have won multiple awards in for our digital platforms, including the mobile banking app, which is the highest rated mobile banking app in the industry. We would want to make sure that the customers understand and appreciate all the platforms are easy to navigate, and it is suggested that the RM onboards the customer immediately on account opening so that the customers familiarize themselves and are actively using these platforms to do their transactions as well. Today, if the customer does it through internet banking and mobile banking, it is faster, quicker, and also has certain advantages. For example, if you were to do a remittance or for that matter, do a transaction of a forex card or so on, he gets better rates on the digital platforms as well. He has a larger amount of currency that can be used for doing his transactions, so on and so forth. So the digital options are also offering these kind of what do you say, small motivations for the customer to do their transactions online. Be it the faster booking of fixed deposits, liquidating, paperwork is very paperwork. There's practically no paperwork, and in a matter of few clicks, the customer can get his request resolved. Be it in terms of availing of products or, for that matter, any kind of service request he might have. So today, the first we talk about the internet banking and mobile banking registration. So how the customer can register for internet banking. So he needs to go into the Play Store, download the mobile banking app. If it is internet banking, he needs to have the customer ID and the mobile number. These are important things for the customer to have so that he can access these platforms. And that is what we are talking about. There are different ways to opt for the digital platforms, not only through your customer ID or mobile number. You can also use your debit card, to register for internet banking. So these are what we are talking about here. So a little bit of information on how to register onto internet banking using your debit card, the debit card or OTP, or for that matter, the details with respect to your customer ID. So that is what it is here for internet banking. The options for you to do a pre-registration. Your account needs to be linked to a mobile number. So that becomes important. And as long as the mobile number is there and you have your customer ID, you will be able to log on to, yeah.
Could you just go back to the earlier page, please? Point 5, number 5. It says that individuals are minor and entity customers cannot register IB. I mean,
Correct.
sole proprietorship.
So they get corporate. They get corporate internet banking, no? They don't get retail individual internet banking.
Yeah,
you have
so
a corporate
there is corporate
internet banking.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted to take it. Thanks.
So this is the pre-registration check where you have access to your number. The number is linked to your account. You have access to your customer ID, or you have your debit card with you so that you can, register for internet banking. In case if you want to find out what your customer ID is, that option is also available. Put in a message, SMS to that number, and you will be able to get the customer ID as an SMS as well. The steps for registering onto internet banking, quite straightforward. So as to say, we have screen grabs of what is the entire process all about. So the register scheme, put in your customer ID, so on and so forth, agree to the terms and conditions. So those are all screenshots of how you have. If you are a first time user using a debit card, put in the details of the debit card. You proceed, you'll get an OTP and put in that OTP, confirm, and put in the capture details, so on and so forth. So a little bit of information of each step of registering onto internet banking. Like I said, not very complicated, something that all of us can do. So that is how it is. You can also register through an email link, and that is there. What is important is you need to accept the terms and conditions and click on the submit button, and the customer will get an email sent from the Axis Bank, and they have to click on the verification link if it is through an email. So the email needs to be validated. That is what we can register with KYC details also. So different multiple options for the RM, for the customer to register onto these platforms. And that is what they have highlighted here. Agree to the terms and conditions. The tabs also very user friendly, very clearly telling what needs to be filled in where. And in a matter of few clicks, you can get your internet banking set up. It will have the OTP. So whatever option that you're using, there would be a OTP, or there would be an email link that would be shared with you, which needs to be validated. The validation through of the email link or the validation of the OTP needs to happen, and you can set up your internet banking. Similarly, the process screen grabs of how to register for mobile application is what is highlighted here. So accepting, whether the mobile app can make phone calls, so on or so on. So whatever are the disclosures and the mandatory acceptance checks, you will have to accept and then proceed further. Again, this has to be the registered number for your account so that the same gets synced to your mobile banking. Again, which SIM, where is it, which number, those needs to be carefully chosen by the customer, because these days you have dual SIMs, you might have numbers also. So choose the right one while you're setting up the mobile banking journey. Some details on that front as well. You can also create your own MPIN. So that is the code. Verify your MPIN, put in the 6-digit MPIN and register yourself for mobile banking. And here again, for mobile banking, you have the fingerprint authentication that may be chosen by the by the customer. So in case if the customer wants a fingerprint authentication, then this process can also be chosen. And this here again, it would mean that, your Aadhaar and fingerprint has been enabled, and appropriately you are proceeding with the fingerprint authentication. And basis that also mobile banking can be activated using biometric authentication. Another is mobile banking through your internet banking credentials or your debit card credentials. So if that is the case, you will have to put your internet banking user ID and password, or alternatively your debit card user ID and the card details, so that you will be able to generate mobile banking through those options. So multiple options to start your internet banking and mobile banking, depending upon what is available with the customer and what option does he want to opt for. Again, authentication will be done through the OTP. You put in those details, and once submitted successfully, the authentication for mobile registration will also happen. So steps on what needs to be done for what kind of registration you're opting for. If it's customer ID, then you put in your customer ID. If it's your date of birth or your individual details, say if you're opting for it, so those can be put in, so on. Confirm your OTPs, put in your MPIN, and it will take you. Registration would be successful and you will be able to do that. In mobile banking, you also have the opportunity of seeing how your screens are enabled in terms of what you want to see on your landing page, so on and so forth. So those customization and personalization is also available. So here for mobile banking, once the registration process is completed, the customer has options how he wants to log in, either using the MPIN that he has set up for the mobile banking channel, or through the biometric, or through the face ID recognition, as the case may be. So depending upon his choice, he will then be accessing the mobile banking options going forward. We also have introduced WhatsApp banking. So most of the requests that are applicable to your accounts, the ones that are available and enabled in WhatsApp banking, is what is highlighted here. Through WhatsApp banking, what is the information that you can find? And that also is very, very easy. Today, all I need to do is have a registered mobile number to my bank account, and WhatsApp as of now enabled for practically all our customers, young or old, so to say. And all they need to do is send their query, and they will be able to get that response, be it a statement, be it your nominee information, so on and so forth. So these are the list of transactions that have been enabled over WhatsApp. So an information even through WhatsApp banking is available. For WhatsApp banking, the number that they would need to refer to is what is highlighted here, 7036165000. So all these services also enabled through WhatsApp. We also would want to talk about which are the investments that they can do through the digital channels. And here again, all these different types of investments available: mutual funds, bonds, DMAT, PPF, NPS, digital gold, so on and so forth. And there are journeys for each of these investments as well. So all this available on your screen, and in a matter of few clicks, you can get these products as well, investment products also available. So today, if you want to access the investments, they would want to make sure they go through the quick links section and click on investments. And here, all these products will be displayed like in the screen. Under investments, all these tabs are there, and the customer can pick and choose what he wants to do under investments. So starting with the PPF, he clicks on the PPF tab, puts in what is the kind of investment that he wants to do in the PPF. And here again, lump sum hai, SIP hai, what is the amount that he wants to choose, so on and so forth. It also is giving a summary on the right-hand side as to what is the investment all about. Interest, what is the interest that he is receiving? What is the minimum investment? What is the lock-in period? So information about the investment also available, and easy tabs to figure out how much he wants to do. The terms and conditions will have to be accepted for each of these investments, post which the investment would be applicable for the customer. And going forward, once the customer uses or avails of that investment, it will also reflect on those screens with details of the investment. So this is what we are talking about with respect to PPF. So here interest currently offered is 7.1. Minimum investment can be as low as 500 rupees, lock-in of 15 years. Early redemption option is available. 50% of the corpus can be withdrawn. So it becomes very easy for the user to understand what is the investment all about and what are the details and particulars for the investment that he is opting for. The exemption that is available under Section 80C is also highlighted to the customer. This is the digital journey where the customer can also choose the nomination. If the customer can choose, if he wants to choose, he can choose it. If he doesn't want to choose, he can choose that I do not wish to nominate, and the journey can go ahead. Like I said, the system itself keeping a track and making sure that, you know, once you have completed only all the essentials, do you move to the next screen? So every time you are also getting notifications to check, recheck, confirm, and also complete in case if there's any part that has been missed out by you while you're doing this entire journey of. So this is the PPF journey that has been captured in screenshots. So simple, easy, not very difficult. And all the RM needs to do is understand these journeys for himself. And one advice that we offer to our RMs is opt for these products yourself also. You know, when you have something like as small as a 500 rupee investment in PPF, if you do this journey yourself, you will be able to figure out what are these screens, how is it that you navigate these screens, and in turn, you will also be able to, you know, educate your customers accordingly and appropriately, right? So that is the journey on the PPF, where again, Aadhaar verification and account funding details all need to be highlighted. This again, we would want to reiterate that Aadhaar linked authentication for biometric and all becomes important. Otherwise, these journeys will not be able to be completed by the customer. And once he avails of the product, he also gets the message that the account has got opened successfully. This is an example of a customer opting for a PPF product online. Yeah, do we move ahead?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, so a similar journey for digital gold also has been highlighted. Again, like I said, the credits and the points all will be available for the for the RM to understand. But this is what it is today. A customer can also opt for digital gold, and this is one smarter way to, you know, hold your gold rather than physical gold. You can opt it for digital gold, and you also have the advantage of converting it to physical gold if the customer wants. So this is what it is. All the customer needs to do is, for you to get credit, the customer needs to put in the sourcing RMs, someone who's helping him do this journey for unmapped customers. Otherwise, for mapped customers, you get the credit for the same. So this is what we are talking about for the digital gold journey. Again, you opt for the digital gold section, and here information about digital gold is what is highlighted here. You know, 99.5% pure, 24 carat, 2 clicks में आपका हो सकता है, minimum purchase 10 rupees से आप शुरू कर सकते हैं. And that's why again reiterated that why don't you opt for it when the investment value is as small as 10 rupees. Opt for these journeys yourself so that you have an idea. And here some point details have been highlighted. 2 IPG points for 1 lakh for the customer who are mapped to you. So this is the journey. Let's look at the journey. So click for digital gold, accept the terms and conditions. You can also choose the SIP mode. So in case if you want to go in for an SIP mode where every month you would want to opt to buy gold, so that option is also available. You can pick and choose the dates. You can pick and choose the tenure depending upon how or what you want to go in for it. So these are options available, and the customer needs to accept what the terms and conditions are and proceed to the next screen. And like I said, if there's something that has been missed, the system will prompt that, this is what you need to complete or this is what you need to clarify. So today, when I'm going for a digital journey, I can either go in for a lump sum. So I have some X amount in my account, I'm buying lump sum. Or alternatively, I would want to create an SIP where month on month I am going in for an investment in digital gold. So these are those journeys. Again, OTP linked hoga, and depending upon whether you go in for an ops or lump sum or an SIP journey, the digital gold transaction would get completed. At any point in time, if the customer wants to, sell, or for that matter, request delivery, those options are also available in the journey. So easy for the customer to go in for and redeem, or for that matter, take physical delivery as well. So those are all available within the platform. We have the mutual fund journey also that has been captured. Again, the screenshot of what your current investments are, values, all given to you upfront in case if you want to go in for it. That also is available. Up lump sum ले सकते हो, SIP mode choose कर सकते हो, so on and so forth. Information about mutual fund available. And here again, what is the kind of investment in mutual fund that you want to do? So that also, if you have a particular fund in mind, you can directly opt for the fund. If you want to search, if you want to explore, those options are also available. So recommendations are also there, plus options for you to specifically choose a specific fund, that is also available for you. So today, if you want to look at which are the top funds, those would be, that information will be available for you, be it in any section, NFOs mein ho, SIPs mein ho, so on and so forth. And these are recommended funds as per the Axis Investment Desk. So you have some information and help on that front as well. And again, all different types of funds of mutual funds, different kinds of mutual funds, those are also available for you. What is the kind of fund that you want to go in for? You click on that and then subsequently take your journey ahead, be it a tax saver or an NFO as the case may be. And you decide how you want to invest, lump sum, SIP, those options also available. And you move ahead. So very easy understanding of the tabs as long as you've gone through it once, as long as you are familiar with your mobile banking and internet banking platforms. That's why it is mandatory and imperative that each RM registers for both these digital channels and has gone through and seen these journeys so that he can handhold the customer as and when they get stuck or they look out for any kind of help and assistance. So simple navigation tools for the customer as well as for the RM. Yeah, so screen grabs have been captured here, how you want to proceed, how you want to go about doing the transaction, the frequency chosen by the customer, the investment amount chosen by the customer, whether he wants to give a end date or whether he wants to go in for a tenure or fixed tenure, as the case may be, if it's an SIP, so on and so forth. And confirmation, validation through an OTP, and subsequently confirmation of the mutual fund units purchased. So that is how the journey works. You have the portfolio page, which will give you the portfolio summary. It will different tabs and their details have been highlighted. So easy for us to have an overview also. And that applies to all, in fact, all the products. Every product ke tab mein you will have an overview as to what is your investment, what are your holdings, so on and so forth. And details, if required, can be available in the form of statements, in the form of, when you have invested, so on and so forth. Another product on the digital journey is the NPS. And here again, the customer needs to start and click on the NPS tab for the journey to begin. And simplified NPS journey as well, similar to all the previous investments, lump sum, one time, what is the minimum investment size, and what are the details for the NPS as a product. So information available for that for the customer before he starts the journey, and he can go about understanding and opting for the NPS investment as well. So again, for your investments, where you want to put your investments, what are the type of investments you want to do, tier 1, tier 2, and who are the people who will be handling those funds. So those information is also there. So you can pick and choose. You can also choose how you want to invest, what is the risk appetite, conservative, moderate, aggressive. You can pick and choose the plan that you would want to go in for, and go ahead and proceed with your NPS investments as well. So not too much of rocket science here, everything very systematically and categorically given to us in simple steps. And like I said, in 3 or 4 easy clicks, the entire investment journey gets complete, along with a notification sent to the customer that this is what you have purchased, or this is the investment that you have gone in for. And overview available for the customer at any point in time in these digital channels for you to understand what are your holdings, and any kind of information, be it in terms of your portfolio, be it in terms of your statements, all available within those tabs as well itself. So that is a little bit on the NPS journey. Again, whether you want to opt for a nomination, the details of the nominee needs to be entered, so on and so forth. The FATCA declaration you'll have to accept before you move ahead, and everything. So this is how the entire NPS journey is completed. You also have another information in terms of bill pay. So you can register for billers also. So all your bill payments can be done through the internet banking, mobile banking platforms. So a little bit on that as well. But like I said, the entire piece likely to be taken by the access trainer. So any kind of value added inputs that he would share with the participants, it's in our interest to make a note of it and appropriately use that in our sessions to come. So as of now, this is what the deck is all about, and that is the brief on the deck. Questions?
None from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Shilpa?
No, nothing from my side as well.
So that covers our day 4, which is incentives and digital platforms. As of now, digital platforms, they are handling it, and we will be taking them through the incentive piece at our end. Yeah. All right. फिर क्या बचता है? Day 5. Okay, day 5 will be quite an exhaustive couple of products there. So day 5 we will take tomorrow. Okay, same time tomorrow. We can start with the products for day 5. Tomorrow we have Forex card, inward outward remittances, term deposits we have. Okay. So that is what is covered in the session plan for tomorrow. All right, good. Okay, with both of you all, Shashwati, Shilpa?
Yes. Yeah, good. Thank you.
So I think we can wrap up here. Shashwati, you and me can discuss for today's session, how we would want to go about today's session.
Sure. So I'll just stay on in this training itself.
Yes, yes. Vivek, anything you want to add?
So tomorrow same time, right? 10.
Same time, हाँ. 10 to 12 का ही रखते हैं, because tomorrow वो एक दिन में होगा नहीं. Because थोड़ा exhaustive है, forex भी है, inward and outward remittance भी है, so it will take some time. So we might need 2 days to complete that piece.
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's discuss about today's. So today Abhishek is also there with us. So I'm sure he'll step in as
Shall
and
I
when.
connect?
Yeah, Shilpa. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye, Shilpa.
Bye.
Let me just open the PPT.
I hope the recording has also stopped, no? There's no need to record this.
Okay.